establishing connection to Science Night. Please stand by.
Welcome back to another edition of the Science Night podcast. My name is James, and with me again after a long summer is Steffi.
Hey.
And Jason.
Hello.
Tonight, we're talking about our annual excursion to the site of the 4 best days in gaming, GenCon, which was held again in beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana, where you can see one of the best sunsets in North America, especially if you're enjoying a fine beverage created by the Sun King Brewery, which is not a sponsor yet. But, you know, hey, DMs are open. If you want to work something out, we can make some science beer. But anyway, we're going to talk about some games and some fun, and we're going to end this intro now and get into it.
That was a good intro. I was wondering where you were going with the sunsets and the...
That's been like a running joke all summer, because apparently Kurt Vonnegut said something about sunsets in Indiana. I don't know.
Yep, it's true. Kurt Vonnegut also said, wherever you go, you find Hoosiers doing interesting things, which to me means everyone who does interesting things leaves.
True. I saw a Hoosier doing an interesting thing on a stage last night, but that's a different thing.
Wait, how many of the faculty are Hoosiers at Indiana?
Oh, there's a bunch.
Okay, so they stay.
Yeah, although the more recent generations are not staying as much, right? We've got a lot of brain drain in the state.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
There's no way to know.
I wonder if there's anything to connect to that.
I'm not sure.
So, holotype. This was our second trip to GenCon, but this year, instead of talking to a bunch of game designers, we actually played some games. I know, like novel, right? We go to a board game convention and we played some games. So let's talk about it. And we're going to start with holotype. Mesozoic North America. And I gotta say, finally, the good people at Brexworks Games made the thing the world has been begging for: a worker replacement game focusing on the exciting world of Mesozoic paleontology and academic publishing. Which, you know, in reality, it's a fast-paced, easy to pick up, but incredibly deep game that the Sci Night team got to play with some special guests.
Should let you know that we would like to record some stuff too.
Audio only.
Audio only.
Okay. You guys run a podcast?
We do run a podcast.
What's your podcast?
Oh, don't worry, you'll walk away with some swag. It's called Science Night. Stephanie is. Do you want to describe yourself?
You're a
plasma physicist / nuclear engineer / fusion.
You are all of those things.
That's right.
In real life.
Yes, I am.
Have a little.
You guys are podcasters.
I'm an evolutionary biologist and human anatomist.
Okay.
By training, I teach anatomy here at IU.
By excellent training, I might add.
Excellent training. Yeah. James runs the anatomy lab at Dartmouth.
All right. So if I beat you guys, I'm just gonna.
That's gonna be the best thing ever.
Yeah,
please do. Absolutely should.
All nerds because we're here, but you're a science nerd.
Right. You should do it brutally and into the microphone.
Everyone take your favorite color, or at least take a color. I'm a game designer.
Nice. Whoa. Could not have been more perfect.
And I love your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. I designed the Search for Planet X, if you've heard of that. As most people know that. So that's how I'm impressive, guys.
That's very impressive.
Way more impressive.
Way better.
Okay, everyone, do me a favor. Empty your bag, and give me the empty bag.
Okay.
You don't need it. We will not need it the next hour. Next 6 hours, 8 hours, actually. Okay, you take the piece that looks like this. This is your grad student. I just took care of it. And put it in the grad student slot. The other two go into your lounge.
That's true.
How does it take? How long does it take to design a game? It can vary widely. Like about 6 months is maybe typical.
Yeah.
A disc. Yeah.
Wait, which one's supposed to be the grad
I
student?
found your disc.
So
Which one is supposed to be
the hat?
The one who's
The
already
smaller one is the grad student.
So, Carol, just a fun diversionary activity for you.
This is like a busman's holiday kind of thing, to be honest.
This is too close to work.
Yeah, let me take a break and publish papers
Right?
and manage graduate students. But
This might be
anyway,
an opportunity for us to collaborate again. It's been a while.
it has.
Publish a paper on Holotype, the game.
It's so meta.
Right?
It is.
It's super meta.
You could publish it in ASE. It is anatomy education.
Hey man, we're trying
That's
to get
right.
anatomy, right?
That's right.
Is there a teacher in the group?
I just put something
Teacher.
anywhere, right?
Yeah, so first player.
Right.
I can't believe you signaled me as the teacher. Who taught me anatomy?
Okay, now I get to do a thing.
That's right.
So, because I'm feeling very slow about this, so you went to the library because you wanted white cubes?
I guess.
Because we need white cubes to
Publish
Publish.
your dinosaurs.
publish things, which is what our,
To get
not to give anything away, some of our
collections too,
objectives
right?
might hypothetically be.
I forget exactly what these are, but I'm going to do this. So, draw 2 field expeditions.
Yeah.
get
Discard 1.
it's beginner's luck. It's the nuclear engineer. First
Hey,
time in the field.
I'm totally gonna
Sticking
lose this
around.
game, right? You know it's gonna happen.
I mean, let's be real. The game designer is going to win the game, right? Like the guy who designs games. I feel.
I didn't
it's
design
gonna
this game.
That's true. All right, so
But
one
you
of the
won
most
with the game.
preeminent scientists
You
I
won
know,
with the game.
Dr. Henry Jones Jr., says that you should spend your time in the field.
Oh, have you seen that?
I'm going to do that.
We saw it. I get 2 and choose one? Is that right?
Yep.
Because I'm a professor.
Right. You're excellent at this.
Dinosaur Parker Cayenta. It just kind of makes me feel like I should be working.
I know.
No,
I'm like,
can't
I
you
have
feel
3
like this
papers
is you
I'm supposed to
working,
be
right?
writing,
You published your first evolutionary biology paper right here.
right?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, you're good. Jason's researcher is stuck behind a door he doesn't have hard access to. He's stuck in the museum.
It's the story of my life, man. Look at that. What she said. Right. She just comes in and like dominates everyone.
I'm gonna go to the
You.
field.
Apparently,
We do the best
you're out
thing.
publishing the paleontologist by a long shot.
I just publish in fields that I just barely know. That's what physicists
That
do,
makes
right? That's
multiples of us
What do you
here.
mean if there are fields that you know
I'll
something
need
about?
7. How does anyone know physics, right?
Right.
It's just a
It's just
vibe.
a feeling.
It's a warm, glowy feeling. I feel like the copper light should go with gas, don't you?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
You should get an extra point for
I
that.
should.
House rules. If you make a good
Points,
pun,
get
yeah,
extra points for
I should. I
puns.
should get pun points.
yeah, that's the house rule.
Let's go here.
If it's a good
that
pun,
right?
you get more.
Oh, from the supply.
From the supply.
Oh,
Okay.
that's sweet.
That's what I want. All right, thanks.
So he knocked around some boxes in the back room.
Yep, that sounds about
Found a
right.
purple fossil.
Gotta find some fossils.
When you woke up this morning, did you think you were gonna publish 2 Triassic holotypes?
I'm telling Casey I published 2
That's
Triassic
right.
holotypes.
Someone's gonna be jealous.
I know.
Okay.
Oh man, we're in the final
I'm
rounds.
gonna publish. I'm just gonna see which one I want.
Research the game.
I liked
What do
it.
we think about
I
it?
thought it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. Reminded me of other games I played before. Reminded me too much of work.
I was gonna say, have you done anything in your life that was anything like that? It was mind blowing, right?
Yeah, I've never done anything like that. Right? I spent all my time in the lab. I've never been in the field. Not for fossils, at least.
That's true. That's true. Stephanie, what did you think? You're now one of the preeminent Mesozoic scientists.
I
do wanna-
published so many papers. Do you want to use this instead?
That's fine.
I do want to point out really quickly that
I'm getting a lot of gain.
I played a game, and yet with Carol Ward, and yet she still didn't take me into the field.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Not
I
once.
wasn't going to the field when you were in grad school. I wasn't going to the field then.
Just saying.
Now I'm done.
I'm just saying. You're done in the field?
Probably, yeah.
Good for you.
So
Yes.
Car-
Yeah.
I think the thing we actually need to know from preeminent scholar Carol Ward is, what is Jason a little bit more suited for? This like science thing or board games?
maybe we found that out today.
I'd say keep your day job, Jason. Stick with the science.
Yeah, I would agree.
That is one of the greatest compliments that one can receive, right?
I mean, it was backhanded, but yes.
So you can hear we had a lot of fun playing this game, but what are our actual thoughts now that we don't have like the game designer minions kind of hovering over us as we're playing this game? Which, by the way, if you're playing a game at Gen Con, like the designers are right there watching you do it, telling you what you're doing wrong, and being very annoyed if you take their plastic bags.
And also game designers of other games are playing too.
Yeah, that was fun.
That blew my mind, actually, right? Because he understood the mechanics of the game way better than we did. But, you know, there are some of us who understood the mechanics of paleontology a little bit better than he did. And it didn't really matter because he still had the upper hand.
Well, what actually mattered is that we all agreed as a team to not worry about endgame goals until Carol Ward was just like, hey, I'm going to win this game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm going to win the heck out of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about Carol. I mean, I've been a friend of Carol's for a long time. She was my master's thesis advisor. I probably owe my career to her. So everything I say here is meant with true love. But man, that's just like being in her lab, right? It's like, hey, here you come. And then boom, you're like sideswiped because she's done something amazing. And it's like, crap. Well,
what was it like in board game form to go out into the field with her again?
Right. It was great. It was fantastic. Thank you, Carol, for finally taking me out into the field of Indianapolis. Actually, you should be thanking me because you came to my town.
And Steph, I got to say, by the end of the game, you became one of the most prolific paleontologists in all of that board game. How did it feel to finally be publishing in a field that matters?
So first of all, I've never been so productive at publishing papers, and I had so many creatures. I was really proud of my accomplishments in such a short time, especially considering I didn't have to build an experiment. I could just show up and start doing research, cranking out papers. Never had that before. Also, maybe I should switch fields. It was so good.
Yeah. Maybe. You know, it's a good point you raised there, Steffi, because I've never seen paleontology published so fast. There was so much published in that hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
There was. Yeah. Really working at the speed of like TV science, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think my citations were way higher too.
Yeah.
Off the
At least we think it was. I don't really remember how that part worked, and it wasn't explained too well in the instructions, but there was something about citations.
Yeah, I was lost. I've never been really clear on how to get them.
So I will say I was a little conflicted. It was a little bit too close to academia for me.
Yeah. And if it was too close to academia for you, I mean, I can't imagine what that felt like for Carol, just to say.
And then I also brought friends who are not in academia. They love the game. They actually bought it. So widely appealing.
I had a blast. I did. I had an absolute blast playing that game. But Carol was right. It felt a little too real, like not a break from the everyday. And so it's that's a fantastic thing if you're not a paleontologist, but if you are a paleontologist, it didn't seem like having fun. It seemed like dealing with the same things you got to deal with every other day, right? Only this time, you know, nuclear engineers, fusion scientists can be better at your job than you are.
Yeah,
right?
So much better. It's amazing what you can do when you take away peer review process.
Oh man,
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Right. Well, so there's something to be said about that, right? Because of all of the stuff we've been talking about with eLife lately, and the controversy surrounding some of Professor Berger's most recent claims in the literature, right? And so, you know, when you take away peer review, it's hard to know what is and what is not great science if you're not a scientist.
Yeah, and yet so easy to publish. Just
So easy.
pay that fee.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, go and listen to Cave of Bones featuring Lee Berger, which is 2 episodes down in your feed right now. So just go and check it out. Now the shameless plug part of this episode is over.
Sorry, I figured we needed to connect that.
No, that was all.
That was a
We're all
good episode.
It was a good
I'm sad I
episode.
missed that.
And by the way, if anyone is wondering why it was just me, it's because, man, did that come together real quick and at the very last second. I sent offers out to everybody, but when Netflix is making you trend, I guess you become very busy.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next game we played. Unfortunately, we don't have any footage for this because I just couldn't be bothered. It was a long day and I was really hot. But we played a game that we all really loved called 5 Years to Mars, which was a card-based game where players act either cooperatively or, in our case, very, very independently to try and complete a Mars mission in the allotted time, which is, you guessed it, 5 years. So let's talk about this game. Let's talk about how we loved it so much that we all immediately went to Kickstarter and funded it. And then we're going to talk about maybe the not so fun side of Gen Con as well. So 5 Years to Mars. What did we think?
I love that game. I was probably holding up the game the most because I had to read all the cards because they're based in real NASA science. So I was literally like purchasing things just because I liked the name of the science that it was describing.
Yep.
That's how I played.
I loved it. I loved this game because and Steph, you probably know this better than anybody, or certainly better than me and James. And that is that this 5-year timeline that this game works on is so indicative of actually how grant budget cycles work, right? And you don't get renewed funding if you don't produce the results, right? And so every purchase you made in this game had to have a deliverable at the end of it that you could count on bringing in funds that would boost your bottom line for the next year, right? In your grant cycle. And it was this one, even though this was an even more realistic look at how high level science is done, and I don't mean like the science that's done in the lab or that's done, where the rubber meets the road. It's the administrative level of science, right? This was so realistic, much more than holotype, in that regard. So fun. Didn't make me feel like I was bogged down in my everyday job. Because it was outside my field enough that that it was different, but also that it was just such a well-crafted game. I mean, you could see it crafted by NASA scientists. You could see it, infusing every single like little niche in that game was populated by some amazing piece of NASA science. It was awesome.
And it was pretty fun to have. I should have asked more questions and maybe even interviewed the person that was standing with us. But obviously somebody who worked very closely with these NASA science teams, if not directly on some of the teams, where she would just casually point out, like, yeah, we worked on that project. Or yeah, I was part of that project. I was like, oh, wait, hold on. What?
Yeah, they were both NASA scientists that were there. Yeah.
Which that's how fun this game was, where me, a science podcaster, didn't take the opportunity to create some more content. I was just so engrossed in sabotaging my fellow my fellow Mars missionistas. Which is maybe what we should all be called in that game. Pro tip.
I mean, I do have one criticism.
What's
that?
There wasn't plasma in it.
Oh,
even though there was one of the cards had pictures of plasma, but it didn't talk about the plasma in the picture. So
maybe
just throwing that out there.
Maybe that's what leads us to our next part of this little segment is I told you we stopped mid-game to fund this on Kickstarter, but it did not get funded. And Steffi, do you think this could be directly linked to plasma? as
Obviously,
all
everything
things.
goes back to plasma. No, no. I think like I was watching that Kickstarter all weekend, to be honest,
Me
because
too.
I knew like how far away, and I think it goes to show like actually getting your hands on the game and playing it like makes a huge difference sometimes if you're
Yeah.
more of a small independent indie game designer. Like that's hard. It was an amazing game. I think they're still trying to find other avenues because it is such a great game.
It was such a great game, and I think there's something to it also with the location that they had at GenCon, right? So,
Right.
for those that don't know,
Yeah,
GenCon
let's talk about that.
GenCon takes up 3 city blocks, and it is held in the Indiana Convention Center, which is a large convention center to begin with, and adjacent hotels, and it's connected to Lucas Oil Stadium where the Indianapolis Colts play. So there are meeting rooms underground below the stadium, and then the entire field at Lucas Oil Stadium and many of the concourses are turned into gaming venues. And it's just this monstrosity of gaming. But most of the stuff happens in the convention center, near where the vendor hall is, right? The closer you are to the vendor hall, sort of the higher profile you are, because you've got the most traffic there. And this game was unfortunately demoed out at Lucas Oil Stadium,
Right.
and so it was really quite far from the vendor area in the convention center, and that is probably part of the reason why it didn't get funded, right? It didn't get the exposure because you had to really hike over to go. Like, there's no reason to go over to Lucas Oil Stadium unless you were seeking something that's out there, right? Which we were.
So we went last year, and I didn't even know they had stuff at the stadium.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I think this year maybe there was a little bit more attention. Nobody that hasn't been to the past 2 years of Gen Con is going to get this part, but the food truck emporium was over by the stadium this year, and it wasn't the year before. I'm wondering if maybe there was a little bit more foot traffic over, at least in that general area, because of that, but I don't know. I definitely knew that it existed this year.
Yeah, so I didn't know that it existed, and except that several years ago when we did a science fiction panel, that was not a science night one, but it was Indiana Sciences. We were put in a room underneath Lucas Oil Stadium. Right. And that's when I was like, wow, I did not know that there was this tunnel, or it's more like a ramp that right, that carries you from the convention center right into like the basement of the Alamo. You know what I mean? It was crazy. I had no idea that it existed. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do we have anything more to say about 5 Years to Mars?
I hope it gets funded again. I hope that it continues.
Yeah, you should all go out and search 5 Years to Mars. I'll link to it if there's anything to link to in the show notes for this. But try to support this game if it comes out, because it is really fun. The artwork is incredible, and there's a lot of really good science in it.
Just not plasma that I saw.
Yet.
Well, when plasma becomes a thing, Steffi.
I know. If fusion worked, maybe it would be in this game.
Right.
I think that we should all take a break so that Steffi can calm down about this plasma situation, and we can show you a podcast that we'll think you'll enjoy.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
On day 2, Jason and I really stepped out of our comfort zone and played a card game that's all about a subject that's kind of new to us. At least that's what some of our students would say. Human anatomy. We played Anatomy, Flux, or Flux. Nope. We played Flux, Anatomy Edition. Flux is a card game that's all about changing rules, strategy, even the meaning of the cards themselves. And Jason and I got to play it with two very special guests.
Okay.
Ooh, the rules card.
Yeah. So the rules change constantly. It is flux.
Okay.
Everything is in flux all the time.
Sure.
Now. So you said you'll go first?
Yeah.
You're going to start by draw one, and then you'll play one.
How do I play it?
Read whatever one. So you've got new rules cards, you've got keepers, and you've got goals. A goal will sit here, and it will be what the keeper has to fulfill. So just to show you what's in my hand, we want menses.
That's perfect for all of you guys are prepared for that today, right?
Why?
Right out the gate.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you're gonna want all three of these. You want the ovaries, the uterus, and the keeper in front of you. That will fulfill the goal. So you're gonna want all three of them to win the game. The goal can change if you play over it, and you can have as many keepers as you want in front of you, unless there's a rule saying keeper limit 3 or 4, 2, something like that.
So I should put all the keepers out in my hand, or do I just?
Sure. I mean, it'll sit in front of you. It's just like it's yours for that time. People can steal it, but also people can limit your hand amount to 0. I want this one.
I thought we were friends. She's just stealing my pituitary gland.
I have to take it. I'm so sorry.
Victory requires sacrifice.
That's true.
Plus either testes or ovaries. Okay.
What?
So it just has to be
I think
pituitary and testes or ovaries.
Yeah, you give him stomach.
Yeah.
You get my stomach. I forgot about that.
Perfect.
Casually.
Man.
My turn now.
4. And let's do goal digestion. Any 2 pancreas, stomach, intestines. Only got 1. I feel like the urinary bladder should be included in digestion.
It should not be. It is not part of that.
It's part of the end of it.
It's part of the urogenital.
Why is that a different thing?
What's that?
Why is that a different thing?
Because it doesn't connect to your digestive system at all.
But it's all going through the tubes. Okay.
It all connects to everything in the circle of
what
life.
he said.
Exactly.
That's fair.
That's what Mufasa told me.
Everywhere the land touches.
That's right. And it touches the bladder.
I know nothing about the body.
Have fun.
I'm gonna trash a creeper. I'm gonna trash your creeper.
Oh, wait a second.
Thank you.
Just play all
Any
but one.
2.
Oh, you win?
And new rule, creepers don't let you...
there you go. It's over.
I think he won.
You're welcome.
As always.
Is the colon like a colon or the punctuation?
I was going to say the same thing. Boom. You did it. That's the lead-in. That's the lead-in from the clip.
You got to cut me out of that. I'm sorry. I did not mean to talk over that.
Oh, no, that's the beauty of 3 tracks, Jason. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun, right? Jason, you found some things that you didn't really love about this game, right?
Yeah, I found that there were 2 organs that really I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah. Talk about the end of the digestive system, huh?
Right. I had a lot of fun playing this game, even though I don't understand this game. I don't understand flux. I understand that the idea behind it is that the rules are constantly in flux.
Yeah.
But I also just didn't understand the rules to start with, and that didn't help. And so I felt like the game was too much for me. Right now, maybe had we not played it in a big convention hall, right, it would have been easier for me to play. And I had to take the constant competition from my offspring, which wanted to know if dad actually knew anything about anatomy.
Yeah.
And so kind of pushed buttons, right? Which I applaud them for. I'm glad I taught them how to do that. Push buttons. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. I had so much fun playing this game with them, even though I still don't understand the game.
Yeah. And also, like, special thanks to the person from the Flux team that spent 30 minutes of their lives dealing with us. A real hero, if you ask me.
Yes. Thank you so much. Big round of applause.
But so this is a game that has a lot of opportunities for science communication kind of baked into the cards, right? There's a lot of organs. I mean, there was 3 of them playing the game.
3 of them at the table.
Yeah.
And then there was all of them in the deck. So
oh my goodness, I just realized that your name is like suited for anatomy. Huh.
Oh, really? Do
Yeah.
people point that out a lot?
Yes, Steffi Plasma.
But anyway, what did you think about the actual delivery of the
99%
science
of the universe
communication?
is plasma, not organs. I mean,
Yeah, but like 100% of your body is organs.
wait, is your hair an organ?
Well, I guess that you could make an art.
Well.
The skin, it's part of the skin, which is the largest organ.
Sure.
Are your teeth an organ?
Yes.
Speaking of organs, this little like verbal sparring is probably like painful to the organ of Corti, which is being used by everyone that's listening to this right now. Hey, what did you think about the actual delivery of the science communication? Was it as good as the science communication I just delivered flawlessly, or was there maybe a little bit left to be desired?
It was definitely not as good as 5 Years to Mars. That
Right.
science communication was amazing. It was not as good as the science communication in Holotype, which was not that great, but this was definitely not as good as that. And it was just a step up for. No, I'm just kidding. It was very clearly not up to the caliber of your science communication acumen. It left a lot to be desired because there were a lot of missed opportunities. First of all, it blurred the lines between different anatomical fields too much, that it made it confusing, right? So sometimes we'd have something that was microscopic, and another time we'd have something that was macroscopic, and another time we'd have something that was pathology and not even really anatomy. It's like, this is when something's wrong. It's not the basic anatomical structures. And so it blurred a lot of those lines. And I think because of that, it missed opportunities to connect those dots.
Right. What do you think the actual audience for this game is? This specific game, not Flux in general, but like this anatomy : Flux.
My guess is that the audience is people who like the game Flux and are just looking for a different deck to play with.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was probably like laser focused to the actual people in the fields, because you can get Flux in basically every version of science and entertainment. I'm wondering if they're just like, hey, if we get all 5 people in this field that are into playing Flux, we got 100% of the people.
Right, that's a good point. Although the level of detail that was in these, cards is not something that target audience would want to see, right? I mean, it would be like, oh, great, thanks for taking me back to year 1 anatomy and physiology, right? Or freshman bio. It wasn't high level information. And so I would think that the specialists in those fields would be not interested. My guess is I think it's just people who like the game Flux who are looking at something different to play. Like, hey, let's play Flux Chemistry tonight instead, right? Or hey, I got a new version of Flux, right? Scooby-Doo or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. I mean, they got everything you could think of.
And if you're looking at a way to do a fun SciComm anatomy game, like I'm talking directly to my people at the American Association for Anatomy's gamification interest group. Hey, the world needs you to gamify anatomy. Come up with something fun, and who knows what could happen. So to all the people at AAA's gamification
really
interest
a thing?
group, that is really a thing, and I'm really a part of it, and I love it, and they're probably all listening. So hey, you can do it. The world needs you.
I feel like every field needs one of these, because like there's a lot of games that have all these ties to science. I don't think they have science consults. As an example, I went to one game that was, covered kind of themes in some fields that I am an expert in. And they were explaining, and I was like, so did you have a science consult for this game? And they started laughing and they were like, obviously not. Like, okay. Okay. I'm glad you're admitting that.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's pivot into the other stuff we did, because we broke up into individuals and teams and experienced Gen Con and did all kinds of other stuff. What are just a couple things that you saw at the conference that you bought and really loved? What are some things that people should be on the lookout for if they're planning purchases? And they don't have to be science related. None of mine are going to be.
I'll start.
Yes.
And this is going to be a shameless plug, but I really enjoyed seeing my friends and colleagues from the Indianapolis Fencing Club holding workshops on, historical European martial arts. So they were teaching like dagger and rapier fighting, and they were teaching saber fencing to, folks who were interested. And it was just really cool to see so many of the Gen Con audience members, right? Like participants, so interested in doing things like this. And that was a lot of fun for me. And I know I dragged you along, James, for a little bit.
It was fun.
Thanks for tolerating.
It was fun. No, I picked up a game that has been a hit in my household called Meeple Circus, where you basically have your little wooden meeples of different varietals, different shaped performers, different animals, different apparati, things, bars, basically. And you just create these little stunts on your little square, and boy, is it fun. It is a fun way to spend a rainy afternoon, which has basically been every afternoon in New England this summer. I don't know if you've seen the news, but New England is drowning. But it's a good opportunity to play Meeple Circus on a rainy Sunday. Steffi, what did you see?
I and all of my friends bought Decorum.
Ooh,
nice.
It is, I'm going to read the description. It's chaos. A game of passive aggressive cohabitation. Okay. It's a cooperative hidden information game where you and your partner, or you can play it with like 2 to 4 people. You each have the same objective to decorate your home in a way that makes everyone happy. But everyone has like their hidden rules. And like you have furniture and colors to paint your rooms. And the only thing you can say is, I don't like it. I hate it. I love it. No explanation. And you have to try and figure out everyone else's rules. And it's just chaos.
I love that.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hits a little too close to home as we're currently like redoing our living room.
Yeah.
Anything else before we land this plane?
I played berrymandering.
Ooh, what's that?
I saw that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was in the stadium. There's berries. There's 2 berries, blueberries and strawberries, and different little tiles, and you put them out in a grid form, and you take turns with it's a 2-player game, splitting up pieces of the cake. So these pieces kind of form like tiles of 4 in Tetris shapes, and then you kind of pick which cake slices you are going to consume. And then whoever has the most berries in each slice gets a point. But you can also arrange the tiles in the shape of states according to the gerrymandered
I get it now.
districts, and play it that way on their website. So we thought that was very clever.
Yes. Well, I think something that we all enjoyed was the opportunity to both take in and give out science communication by joining Indiana scientists yet again for the science of science fiction. But we're not going to cut to that right now. You're going to have to wait till next week to hear that. So I think you have made it to the end of another episode. But don't worry, we got a little more SciComm for your summer coming up next week. And season 4 is coming soon, so make sure you follow us on social media. If you want to follow me, I am on the microblogging site formerly known as Twitter at James_Reed3. Steffi, where can everybody find you?
I have no idea. I've signed up for so many social media things that I don't even know where they are. So I guess just look for me at Steffi Deem at the whatever formerly Twitter. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, Instagram, Starshipping.
There we go. Jason, how's it going over in Oregon.jm land?
It's good. You can find me at OregonJM on X.com.
It just doesn't even make sense.
No, it's
Right.
Stupid.
Right. Elon's just trying to make fetch happen over there, isn't he?
It's so fetch.
Well,
I just don't understand it. Oh,
no,
okay.
I don't know. This is why we should tax people. Anyway, follow the podcast at SciNightPod on Twitter and at SciNight on Threads. And be sure to visit our home on the web, SciNight.com, for links to all our social media, including TikTok and YouTube. Find out more about all our past episodes, including the things we talk about and the people we talk to. And don't forget our merch. Seriously, I spend way too much on games at GenCon. Buy some of this cone snail stuff. We'll be back in 1 week with another episode, but until then, seriously, help me. I spend way too much on board games.